Supreme Chancellor Obi-Wan Kenobi by Stone Freak! Chapter 81. The corruption case will go to trial. When the news breaks that the case against Mas Amedda and former Chancellor Palpatine for corruption charges will go to court, it explodes across the HoloNet like a supernova. The recent arrests and trials of senators from all over the Republic, the arrests in absence of senators formerly of the Republic and currently of the Separatists, have been making headlines for weeks, but before now there has been nothing about Mas Amedda or Palpatine themselves. If there had been nothing to substantiate the claims, the investigation would have ended now with no charges being brought forward against them. The investigation would only have caught these other people, and so far only sent other people to trial. So for this too to come a trial, well, clearly that means that there is a case against them. There is evidence to be found. The people start to wonder how far the corruption goes, how big a web it is woven, and how many of the already arrested and sentenced senators have testimonies against Amedda and Palpatine. News anchors argue and debate each other into exhaustion regarding what this means not just for Amedda and Palpatine themselves, but for the Republic and Senate at large. If the two who were the most powerful beings in the Republic are found guilty on corruption charges, does that mean that the separatist worlds who chose to try and leave the Republic in protest are right? Or does it mean that someone, Count Dooku perhaps, saw an opportunity to gain power by playing on the corruption they saw in the Senate rather than work towards eliminating those issues from the inside? Obi-Wan doesn't have much time to spend watching the HoloNet, but what little he sees is enough to exhaust him. He's unsurprised, but he's also worried. He doesn't know what the investigation has found, as he shouldn't per due process, but he knows the possible ramifications of a guilty verdict. Yes, the Republic is under new leadership, certainly, but many, if not most, senators remain unchanged. How many of them were in Palpatine or Amedda's pockets? There's no guarantee that those already arrested are the only ones. How will this affect the peace discussions and reintegration of returning separatist worlds? How exactly will the neutral systems, if there truly can be such a thing in a conflict like this, react? Will some of them finally take a stance beyond, "we will not fight"? And if they do, will they do so on the separatists' side? He shakes his head and moves out of his chair to sit down on the floor instead. He moves into his most favored meditation pose and tries to clear his mind. He'll need to work through his emotions and thoughts one by one lest he get overwhelmed. He's needed more meditation than he's needed since childhood after his near-death experience. His connection to the Force has been shaken, and he's been shaken. It takes him far more effort than usual to calm down. Perhaps he'll speak to one of the temple's mind healers when he gets the chance. It is usually a good thing to do after you've faced your death in such a stark way. He knows that. Still, he's so busy. It feels almost wrong to take any sort of time off between all his responsibilities. No doubt Master Yoda would hit him in the shin if he heard that, and then give him a long-winded lecture on the impossibility of helping others if you do not take care of yourself. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. He mutters the mantra over and over as he sinks deeper into meditation. Blast and the others will keep watch, and Obi-Wan has it on good authority that Waxer and Boyle's treatments are over and they're back on duty as well. He has good men at his back. There is no need to worry. Anakin stares at the newsreel, uncomprehending. Mr. Palpatine has been arrested awaiting trial. It's as if all of his thoughts need to force their way through stone to make sense. He's blank. This can't be. This can't be! There's no way Palpatine is guilty! The investigation is probably just arresting him and Amedda and setting a trial date due to outside pressure. That's it. Of course. The trial will just prove Palpatine innocent. They just have to do it. Perhaps there's some doubt in his position due to corruption among his aides. That has to be it. Palpatine wouldn't do something like this. Anakin knows he wouldn't. He paces back and forth in his rooms, unable to settle down. He's close to bursting with frustration and agitation, and he can't hope to meditate on his emotions as Obi-Wan would tell him to when he's this upset. Meditation is for calmer mindsets. Perhaps he could talk to Obi-Wan. Or Padme. Or maybe both of them. That would be good. That's what he needs right now. He picks up his comm and sends a group message to them. By the Force, how he hopes they'll agree. There's no way he can deal with this alone. Palpatine has been his friend and mentor since he was a child. This is just too much to deal with. Obi-Wan said it was his duty to start the investigation due to the vote of no confidence, but there's no way he thought it would find anything. He can't have. Palpatine is one of the only politicians worth trusting in the Senate. Surely Obi-Wan knows that. He's always allowed Anakin to go visit Palpatine, even when he was a child, so he couldn't have thought anything was suspicious. The same goes for the Chancellor, for that matter. They would have stepped in and refused Palpatine's requests for Anakin to visit if they thought he was corrupt. The Chancellor hates politics outside the Order, and they always speak of the need to root out corruption. They must have found Palpatine trustworthy then, and he's done his best since he became Chancellor. No matter what Senator Mondi thinks, It'll be fine. Anakin swallows harshly and clenches his fists in his hair. He just needs to talk to Padme and Obi-Wan. He's too ashamed to face Palpatine. Obi-Wan got him into this situation, and Anakin has always vouched for him with the former Chancellor, even though he knows his friend probably could use the support. Palpatine is strong. He can no doubt manage until Anakin can get a grip on himself. Padme watches the news as they break. Former Chancellor Palpatine has been arrested and placed on house arrest pending the trial. She presses her lips together and fights down the fear and anxiety she feels at the news. She knows Palpatine used the occupation of Naboo to further his career, so in a way she's not surprised that the investigation has found something. But at the same time, using an existing tragedy that you cannot make undone anyway is not the same as actively corrupting the system. Padme should know her own career has been helped by her hard work in disaster zones. So even though she knows that Palpatine used Naboo, the thought that he may be entirely corrupt, it feels foreign. It feels wrong. It's as if there's an itch in the back of her head, as if there's a voice whispering to her to tread carefully, to doubt everything, because who knows who's truly to be trusted. Her head hurts. Her heart hurts when she considers how conflicted and hurt Anakin must feel right now, as if her husband needs more on his plate. One of his dearest friends possibly being a criminal of a terrible degree won't be a devastating blow to him. He picks up her comm and looks at it, wondering if she should send him a message. He probably needs her right now. They never should have married. At least then, that would be one less thing weighing on him. At least then, there might be a chance for them, for the dream of a happy ending. She chokes back a sob. She must be strong. Anakin will need her to be. Bail listens intently to the report, drumming his fingers against the top of his desk. So the corruption reaches as far as this, does it? He glances down at the files and notes Miss Marley gave him just before the explosion in the Senate office building. He's still going through them to verify their validity, but so far everything checks out, and her own notes and thoughts are very astute. Bail, as always known, taught as such at his mother's knee, that if you want to truly know what goes on in an institution, you ask the aides and the lower ranks, those who fall into the background. After all, who thinks of what the secretary overhears when they walk inside with documents? Or even what they can piece together when they remain at their station simply by who comes and goes? Miss Merrily, currently the aide of Senator Jax of Belazura, and the former aide of Senator Lar of Sarum, is an excellent example. Her information is very interesting indeed, and dates back decades. Bail wonders just what it was that caught her eye, what sent her looking in the first place. But he's yet to hear that story from her. He's also curious as to why she came to him rather than Senator Jax, but Bail thinks it's likely that it's due to his position as a core world senator, and possibly his known friendliness with the Jedi. Definitely important, considering the content of her information. Still, Bail can't make any moves as of yet. The information may check out for now, but who knows if she's hidden some falsehoods that could prove damaging within it. After all, she is an unknown factor, and Bail knows very little about her. In fact, Bail does not even know how she ended up as Senator Lars' aide in the first place, considering how young she must have been at the time. Perhaps her family moved to Sarum at some point. That could, of course, be how Senator Lar found her in the first place, since a Twi'lek family taking up residence, rather than just going on holiday there, would likely draw attention. Aside from the native human population, few make Sarum their permanent home despite its popularity as a vacation planet, as far as Bail knows. Regardless, her mysterious past and everything else together makes for quite the puzzle. Perhaps she'll trust him with the truth at a later time, though no doubt will he need to prove himself first. All in all, the political situation on Coruscant is growing increasingly complex, even when you don't take the currently ongoing civil war into consideration. So, those cretins think they found something on him, do they? Well, they'll certainly see about that. Palpatine has made damn sure that anything more than slightly frowned upon will fall entirely on Amida. The fool was always set up to take the fall should something go wrong, and Palpatine's plot was derailed, as it has been. At most, Palpatine himself will receive a slap on the wrist and an admonishment to hire better staff. Even so, he suffers the utter humiliation of being stranded on Coruscant wearing a prisoner's bracelet to ensure he cannot leave the planet. They'll all suffer for this humiliation, the lot of them. Palpatine will grind Kenobi's skull to dust for daring to set this farce in motion. Blast the Jedi! He'll bathe in their blood and relish in every single second of it.